Hello everybody, I'm Chef Ben and this is the Behind Ben vlog. And today I'm going to read part 2 of the Paddleboat Saga. So this is a story that I wrote about 5 years ago. Haven't read since. I read the first part of it the other day, earlier today actually. And now I'm going to read the second part. So if you haven't seen the first one, go watch that and then come back. So this picks up exactly where the other one left off. The air was calm, the sky was calm, the water was calm, Suzanne was calm. I was not calm. I was still quite excited from the previous events, knowing that my carelessness could have cost me not only my vessel, but my life and the life of my crew. I resumed our journey with a newfound sense of responsibility. I may not have been calm when everything else around me was, but I wasn't going to be fooled. I would not allow myself to be lulled into a false sense of safety. I knew that if I let the gentle rocking of the water calm me, myself and my crew would surely die. I was aware of everything that was happening. I was alert. I heard birds' wings flapping from miles away. I saw a water spider skip across the surface of the water on the complete other side of the lake. I was more present than I had ever been at any point in my life. I would not lose my crew. I would not lose my vessel. Most importantly, I would not lose myself upon those waters that day. It was with this in mind that I instructed my crew to head out into the open water. A fateful decision it was, but of course, I couldn't have known that at the time. My crew gave a nod, and out we headed towards a narrow channel in the lake. As we progressed through the channel, we were surrounded by more and more of the gross floaty things that had previously plagued our journey. And again, I would not be deterred. Then, all of a sudden, I spotted something floating in the water that only my keen, newfound captain's eyes could have spotted. I yelled to my first mate, "I think there's poop in the water." I was met with what I can only describe as curious indignation and skepticism. Wanting to prove my first mate a fool, I once again cut hard right on the rudder and brought the boat around. I pulled up right beside what I believed to be a floating log of poop, so that Suzanne was staring it right in the eye, if it had an eye. After some protest from Suzanne and closer inspection of the possible poop, it was discovered that it was in fact just a small log of wood floating around. I did not consider myself a fool for being proved wrong. In fact, I'm pretty sure I knew it was a log the whole time, and I was just testing Suzanne. Yep, now that I think about it, that is definitely what happened. I mean, how could I, the captain of such a grand vessel, ever mistake a floating log of wood for a floating log of... But I digress. Now that the mystery of the floating log of whatever had been solved, I cut hard right again to bring us back around. We proceeded through the channel, and the channel opened up into another piece of the lake. This part wasn't quite as long or as wide as the main part of the lake, but still I would not be calmed. Once into the second part of the lake, again my captain's eyes spotted something in the near distance. Two somethings, actually. I saw two ducks. Now, one of my favorite things in the world, and this may seem odd, but it is true, one of my favorite things in the world is when a duck puts the top half of its body underwater, leaving its bum and legs out. And usually the legs move as the duck searches under the surface of the water for food. Now, I don't know why, but this always makes me very, very happy. Not wanting to miss an opportunity to see something that always makes me so happy, I ordered my crew to follow the ducks and to be quiet about it. We proceeded with caution, not wanting to disturb the gentle waterfowl we now found ourselves following. As we sat upon the gentle water in our boat, watching the ducks dive under the surface for the lunch, I came up with an ingenious plan. Something so ingenious, so brilliant, so remarkable, so stunningly ingenious that only a true captain could have come up with it. As we did not want to disturb the ducks while they were at their lunch, and knowing that our pedaling would surely scare them away, and still not having seen the classic duck bum in the air and with webbed feet paddling as though they were under the water combination, I grabbed hold of the rudder stick and began to move it side to side. Now, for those of you who have never known the pressure of captaining a boat and holding the lives of your crew in your hands, what I'm about to tell you may not make any sense. I'm sure that even if you attempted this, it would be unsuccessful. But what I knew was that as a captain, I was able to do just about anything upon my vessel, and it would work. And so, with that in mind, and the rudder being moved side to side, we began to move forward. Yes, I propelled the boat forward quietly, without scaring the ducks, by moving the rudder side to side. I told you, it was ingenious. So there we were, moving as quietly as the breeze upon the lake, getting closer and closer to the ducks. Then it happened. Both ducks went underwater at once, and with the same quickness they had disappeared under the water, I yelled to my crew, "Full steam ahead!" And with that we paddled with vigor and might. Then the ducks were on the surface again, and we stopped. We were maybe 8 feet from the ducks at this point, just floating there. And the ducks looked back at us, and we looked at the ducks. They looked at each other. We looked at each other. The ducks looked at us again. We looked at the ducks. They looked at each other. We looked at each other. Let's just say this went on for a while, until the ducks began to paddle away. We followed quietly, and this went on for what I can only describe as far too long. After a while, we decided that it was time to leave the now confused ducks to their business, and I cut the rudder hard right, and off we went, leaving the ducks to finish their lunch. Where we found ourselves now was just off-center of the portion of the lake we were in, closer to the south shore than the north, and on the north shore there was a small dock and a little boathouse. On the south shore there was a small dock and a cabin, which was up a small embankment. I saw something on the dock to the south, so that is where we headed. We proceeded with caution, not knowing what we were about to encounter or what we might find sitting upon the dock on the south shore of the lake. As we approached the dock, we realized that what I had seen from so far back was simply a bird. Or was it? It was, as I had feared. As we got closer, it became more and more obvious that this was no regular bird. What we were looking at, face to face, eye to eye, was the lake monster whose sheddings we had been seeing all morning. Or it was just a weird-looking bird. As we approached the beast quietly with caution, not wanting to awaken its wrath, it became painfully clear that this animal was, what this animal was, rather. Clearly, it was half pigeon, half seagull, and full monster. It had the body of a pigeon, colored like a seagull, its head still the gray of a pigeon, and of course it had webbed feet. It stood 28 feet high, or 8 inches. My memory gets a little blurry here. And as it stood there on that little dock, as quiet as us quietly approaching, it eyed us up. I felt like our dimensions were being taken to see if we would fit in the monster's gullet, and as we approached, it simply stared at us, its piercing eyes penetrating the depths of our souls. I wanted to order the crew to turn back, but I was mesmerized. I was caught in the beast's glare, and I couldn't turn away. We continued to approach, just when I thought that our time on this world was done, that all was lost, and that there was nothing I could do about it if the monster broke its gaze. With a flap of its mighty wings, the monster took to the air, flying right above us. Both Suzanne and I let out a sigh of relief. We had looked a hideous monster right in the eye and lived to tell the tale. Just then, when we thought we were safe, our guard lowered. As monsters are known to do, it launched its attack. We had never taken our eyes off the beast as it flew away, but as we watched it head out towards the horizon, it made a sharp turn, and then, my friends, then it flew right for us. Again, Suzanne did that thing I still don't understand, where she shrieked and it came out of my mouth, and I yelled, "The beast returns!" Suzanne ducked behind me for cover, just quick enough that I couldn't duck behind her, and with that, it was just me and the monster. With Suzanne safely hidden behind me, I decided to take my stand against the great beast. As it approached, its massive wingspan blocking out the sun, with every flap of those monstrous extremities, the water churned. I was faced with certain death. With a mighty and manly scream, I yelled, "No, bird, no!" My words had no effect on the monster, and in that moment, the moment that I thought I would be lost, I thought about how brave I had been on this voyage, letting Suzanne deal with those spiders, acting like a true captain when we started taking on water, and now with this beast. As Suzanne hid behind me, I knew I was the bravest man in the world, and with that in mind, I looked the beast in the eyes and gave it the best stare I could. That gaze was not just a gaze. That gaze was for every person who has ever faced a monster. I channeled all of humanity, past and present. I consumed every ounce of courage that has ever been or ever will be. I gazed for every child, man, and woman that there has ever been afraid, and as one, we all defeated that monster on that fateful day. For that gaze, the monster knew that I could not be defeated. I would not allow the monster to win this game. It was not just for myself. It was not just for Suzanne. I gazed that gaze for all of humankind. The monster, seeing this in my eyes, this unadulterated passion and courage, at the last minute swooped up and narrowly missed a direct collision with me, then flew far away. Once the ordeal was through, I informed Suzanne that it was safe to come out of hiding. I didn't tell her about the experience I had just had. I wanted to spare her the details. She was already so shaken up. And with the knowledge that we had narrowly escaped death for a second time that day, I ordered the boat back to shore, full steam ahead. We pedaled our way through the narrow channel and across the main body of the lake, taking turns with the pedals so that we never had to stop moving. We pedaled past the horrible floaties in the lake, past the knot poop log, past the point where we had first taken on water. We pedaled for shore and for home. And with one final sweet donut, we made our final push for solid ground. As we approached the shore, I ordered a full steam ahead. We headed towards the shore at a speed I can only describe as fast. And just when it appeared we were going to crash and run ashore, I once again cut hard right, and with that the boat slid sideways into the bank and landed with a gentle bump. Suzanne was the first out of the boat, and I don't know if it was due to a misplaced step or due to a complete mental and physical exhaustion from our adventure. But there, on the shore, Suzanne fell to the ground. And once she regained her footing, she grabbed the rope, and with that, I too was on solid ground. Well, my friends, that concludes the paddleboat saga. I know some of my story may seem hard to believe, but as I've said, everything is just as I remember it. Believe it or not, just know that I am once again safe, and that I live to tell another tale. So there you go, the conclusion of the paddleboat saga. So in all honesty, this lake was not very big. The bird was like the size of a pigeon, and it was creepy, but it was the size of a pigeon. But yeah, so that's the paddleboat saga. I'm Chef Ben. This is Behind Ben. Yeah, I'll see you later.